You haven't been interested to see if you have the strength of your ancestors egging you on?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, neither.
What do we do?
Crazy.
Just wait 2 weeks?
I'll
I'll mess my bed.
6 weeks.
No way. She goes, but it's cool. I'm like, it's not cool. She goes, it's cool. I'm like, Sarah, it's not cool. She goes, it's fun. I'm like, it is. Yes, it is fun. I'll grant that it's fun.
It's very fun.
But it's not cool. She's like, it looks really cool. I'm like, look, the way you and I skateboard, it doesn't look cool. All right. I said, Adrian, maybe. He's graceful. He's a graceful dude. All right. If you would like to see me just hug Adrian for 1 minute in the ice tub so we can't get out, drop a comment. And look, let's say if we get 10...
You guys can say whatever you want to say.
If we get 10 comments saying...
Ask to see whatever you want to see. If you do that to me, I quit and I'm leaving.
Oh, you can't do that. Come on. So basically, a beta blocker, no, it doesn't. It's not anabolic. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't help your lung capacity. But it calms him down and he can perform better. So you don't have to be physically enhanced to be a performance enhancer, in my opinion. Fancy new equipment.
Now I just want to hold it all the time.
I mean, you can, but it's unnecessary. But I guess for you, it's good because it means it will be like you actually be able to hear
me for once. Kel.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back to the Big Flex.
To the Big Flex. Ooh, I don't know if you can tell, but we got a cool new adjustable microphone arms. We have a lovely new sign. A new table.
The sign's way cooler. Like, this stuff is cool, but that's way cooler.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're actually... the microphone is doing exactly what I hoped it would do. It puts it right in front of your face. Nice.
I'm glad it paid off.
It paid off. Yeah. You know what else paid off?
What else paid off, Nevin?
2 dudes, 1 tub.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree. I don't think it paid off. Not for me anyway.
Yeah. Look,
it paid off for everyone who watched it. Everyone thought it was quite funny.
It was very entertaining.
And it paid off for all the members that we did a client version of it. We just got a smaller tub and did the ice the weekend just gone for everyone who made fun of me. And I was hoping that not very many people would do very well. Everyone smoked me. I did poorly. So I guess you could say it paid off for everyone but me.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is true. Which is interesting.
Kind of upsetting.
Now, for those that don't know what 2 dudes, 1 tub is, you can click this link up here. Right up there. I'll link it in the video. We have started a new mini-series, and it's called 2 Dudes, 1 Tub. And basically, we both get into an ice bath. And
2 dudes get in 1 tub.
2 dudes get into 1 tub. We sit in that ice bath, and it's cold. It is very cold. We put 21 bags of ice in. 21 of those big servo bags of ice.
Expect an ice bath to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what we do is, for performance, they recommend 10 to 15 minutes straight in an ice bath. And so what we try to do is last 10 to 15 minutes, and we talk about a different performance aspect each week. So on week 1, we talked about, why it's important or why ice baths can be beneficial for recovery and performance. We actually have a really fun episode coming up we're going to film this weekend. And the topic on this one, guys, get excited, is we are tackling head on the age-old story of no sexual... what's the right word? No sex before before competition, basically.
It's not even just sex.
Not even just sex.
Release before.
That's right.
Games.
Sexual abstinence.
Yeah.
In all of its
sexual
forms.
Abstinence before
Sexual abstinence.
Performance-based sports.
Correct. In all of its forms before competition. And so there are some old, some old stories, and this has been around since literally ancient Greece, all the way through up to modern, culture, like pop culture with like Rocky, like you can't have sex before you fight Rocky, it will kill your legs, right? So like, Muhammad Ali wouldn't have sex for 6 weeks before he would fight.
6 weeks?
6 weeks, right.
Damn.
So we're tackling that head on, and that's what's the main episode of 2 Dudes, 1 Tub this week.
That's going to be good.
It's going to be pretty fun.
But then back to the actual tub itself. So if you haven't seen the initial, the first episode, Nev stayed in for the full 15 minutes, like a savage, and I stayed in for about 29 seconds.
But to be fair, you went in and out. The longest run was 29 seconds. Yeah.
So
you probably did about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes total, maybe.
Ice baths suck. Do not like the cold. I very rarely say this word. Hate ice baths. Not a fan at all. They're supposed to be good and good for you. Don't like them at all. Feel worse actually afterwards.
Right.
We did. I wanted to get everyone involved as well. Everyone at the gym. So we did there's a Actually, have you released that short video?
Yeah, it's up on. Yeah, I'm gonna play it for us right now. No, I'm gonna put a link. I'm gonna because it's not on Facebook. It's on our members page. So we're gonna play it. We're gonna watch it, and I'll put the whole video up
right now. So this is a small montage of getting all the clients.
I think what I'll do is
and everyone to do it as well,
because it goes for quite a few minutes. What I'll do is I'll skip forward to your performance, and you can walk us through play by play.
No one needs to see that.
Of what the people need to see it.
Not going to take long, guys. I almost doubled my time. I got 50 seconds. Play by play. Who wants to see play by play? Who wants to see my
So we're going to watch.
ugly mug?
Hang on. Here we go. All right. So Adrian, we're going to play by play this. You can tell us what's going through your head.
Okay. So before I got in, I thought this sucks, and then I got in and I thought this sucks, and then while I was in there, I was thinking this sucks, but faster. So
at this point,
saying,
we're saying get your knees down, right? So your knees pop down now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all. Everyone kept saying it gets better and it gets easier. And it was just getting worse and worse. And I feel like my elbows and my ankles, all of my joints were going to explode.
Now, this is the interesting thing that you say you feel it in your joints. Now, I also feel it in my joints, like in my toes and in my fingers. My ankles just get like cold and tight, but they don't feel painful.
I feel like my ankles are going to actually burst. There's so much pressure and pain in my ankles.
At this point, I think you're saying, it sucks so bad.
I hate it. Yeah, I hate it. It was like the build up was getting worse and worse and worse, and I just was not.
And then we're like, no, stay in,
Yeah.
stay in.
I couldn't handle it.
Now, to be fair, you almost made a minute. Okay, so you did a lot better. You did almost double the time.
I tried again, and I tried again, and every time I got in, I just got angrier and angrier, and I wanted to fight someone, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Kept it under control. It bugged me. Don't know why. Don't know why it bothers me so much. It just was incredibly painful.
And here's the thing: is because you're a competitive person, like I can see that it upsets you.
It's really bothering me because we had a couple of our members who have never done an art class before.
We had 10 people went through it on that day.
Young Tim. Yeah, 15 years old, I think, and just smoked 5 minutes.
3 minutes, I think. 3 minutes.
He could have gone more.
Yeah.
Michelle,
she's 5 minutes.
Actually, do you have the start of Michelle in there?
Yeah.
All right, play that for me now. And I just want volume. I'm very nice to all of my clients, encouraging, supportive, helpful. I just want to roll through a short amount of Michelle's go. First of all, she crushed it and she got 5 minutes right off the bat, which was awesome. But the way that she celebrated her victory,
I don't have it when she got it. I only had the first 15 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know how you can be a sore loser? She was a sore winner, basically. Her goal for the day was to beat me. And she was like, suck it, Adrian. You suck. I'm awesome. And it wasn't just that. It was the continued version of that for the full 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Proud of her. Also, suck it. There was a lot of that going on. Everyone's goal was to beat me, which was a pretty low bar to set, if I'm completely honest.
It was humorous because, and here's the thing as well, and this is not poking fun of Adrian. Different people react differently to different stimulus, right? So like some people aren't too fazed by things that are hot. Some people aren't too fazed by things that are cold. Some people are extremely fazed by things that are cold, right? People manifest pain in different ways, and it depends on the stimulus. It depends on the person, right? So when you couldn't do the 2 dudes 1 tub very well, and you're like, I'm going to practice, but then people were giving you they were teasing you. They were teasing you on YouTube, on Facebook, and you're like, I'll show them. Yeah. We'll get it out this weekend. And in my head, I'm like, I don't think this is going to go that well for you.
It didn't.
And
it went very poorly.
And literally, but the most humorous thing was at the end of the Saturday when we packed it all away, you're like, this just didn't go as I thought it was going to go.
It didn't. I thought that some people would struggle a little bit, but it's strange. I'm a very competitive person, and I'm not very often the worst at something.
Yeah.
Like very, very rarely anymore, because I've been competing in all sorts of stuff for quite a while. So to actually be comfortably dead last at something, it's bugging the absolute crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because like everyone smoked me by a lot. It wasn't even a little bit, like by a lot. So I'm determined. Yeah. I'm determined.
So you actually had an interesting idea about how you're going to like try to train yourself up. You were like, I'm going to slowly, progressively overload it, which makes sense in some aspects. Like
I'm thinking about it in exactly the same way that you would do anything else, in the way that you progress, right? You pick the stimulus and then you progressively overload through that. This is temperature. So if you want to squat heavy, then you'll start low with the weight and slowly build the weight up over time. You can do lots of different things with it, but it's a slow increase over time. And getting in the ice bath is just saying, just get in and just stay in longer. Clearly isn't working. And if it's a temperature-based thing, then I'd start at a lower temperature and just build my tolerance up. So that's where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Where I think that breaks down a little bit is that it's like because you're like, I'll just put a bag of ice or 2 in. It's just not going to be anywhere near cold enough to get any sort of stimulus.
I'm not trying to get anything from it at first. I'm just trying to adjust to the cold.
I get that, but I'm not even talking about performance and recovery from it. I'm talking about if you can squat, let's say 200 kilos, and you're like, cool, I want to build a 220. So we're going to train sub maximally at around 160, 180s, 190. We're going to slowly build our strength. We're going to get more volume in those weight ranges. That makes sense to me. But if you're like, I want to get to 220, so I'm going to squat at 80 kilos because it's really light and very little stimulus, I feel like it's not going to help at all. How cold are you going to try to get the tub? Are you going to go half the ice?
You're talking about someone who's already squatting, right?
Yeah.
If we're comparing that to the ice bath, I've literally never done one before. I've done 2 ice baths.
Correct.
One in the 2-2s, 1 tub. So I'm new. So if you were trying to get someone to squat at all to 200 kilos, where would you start? Start with the kettlebell. Start with body weight, and then build it up, and then slowly build it up. I'm starting all the way down here.
Right.
So I'm going to start at the lowest temperature I can tolerate.
But it is still a squat. So you could say that jumping into a normal ice bath that's actually an ice bath and going 30 seconds, and then next time making sure it's 35 seconds, and then 40 seconds would be the same as going body weight.
This time
20
I wanted
kilos,
to get
40
more
kilos.
than a minute, and that just wasn't happening. And this wasn't like, I could have held on a little longer. I was at my limit. And it wasn't feeling good.
Okay.
So instead of working at that end range and just trying to build the time up, I'm going to bring it down.
Okay.
And I'm just going to start half temperature.
The other option that I was suggesting was, because you say it's in your extremities joints, like in your hands and your ankles and feet, that's really painful.
Like my hips and torso were fine.
So what I'm saying then is, if you want to maybe condition yourself to the cold, it's like, if you have someone that has a terrible range of motion in the squat, you can still make them squat to a really small range of motion, and that will still be beneficial for them. So keeping it at full coldness, you could literally just hang your arms and legs out of the tub, the small tub, and have your neck to thighs in. And that way you're at least conditioning your body to handle the full coldness, but it's taking away that pain you feel in the extremities.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to build a tolerance to.
I understand.
So it doesn't make sense.
But what we don't know is that pain manifesting in the ankles, or is it just if all of a sudden if you jump in and have your hands and legs out, you're like, oh my god, my hips are going to explode, I need to get out. Maybe it's just the actual cold.
Even still, instead of still working at this 100% of the temperature threshold, that's like saying, oh, it hurts your legs when you squat, let's squat without legs. It defeats the purpose, right? It's pointless. So instead of getting in a full freaking ice bath, I'm just straight up not doing it. Wasn't having a good time, all right?
But we are doing it this Sunday.
That's exactly it. So this Sunday for the 2-2s, 1 tub thing, I'm just going to go for it and see what happens.
Yes.
But
1 minute. Do you want me just to hug you for 1 minute?
I do not. I don't.
If you would like to see me just hug Adrian for 1 minute in the ice tub so we can't get out, drop a comment. And look, let's say if we get 10...
You guys can say whatever you want to say.
If we get 10 comments saying...
Ask to see whatever you want to see. If you do that to me, I quit and I'm leaving.
Oh, you can't do that. Come on. What if we get 10 comments saying hug him until he gets a minute? Because to be fair, there'd be a bit of body warmth there as well. To
be completely honest, after the first time getting 30 seconds, the second time getting 50 seconds, I'm going to try and push it past a minute myself. That was my goal for this week coming.
All right.
But I still think that you're just going about it the wrong way. It's a temperature tolerance. Okay. So why would I start at past my threshold? I'm going to start at something I can handle.
Yeah.
And then acclimatize to it and just slowly work my way up temperature-wise.
Right.
Doing that, I know that I can build up a tolerance. The human body can adapt to all sorts of stimulus.
The human body is very malleable, people.
Exactly. So if I start low and work my way up, I'm confident that I can get there. But if I'm just starting at 100% of my threshold, I'm not going to bump my time up very well.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see how it progresses over the coming weeks.
I'm less excited and more stubbornly determined.
Right. I get you.
I dislike it. I dislike it a lot. I don't know why. I can handle heat really well. It's just
that Mediterranean body. So.
Yeah, I don't think I was made for the cold. Something about it. It's I don't know. It's stupid. Ice baths are dumb, and Winhoff can suck it.
Well, I think it's fun.
He's a crazy old man. He's a crackpot.
He is a crazy old man. To be fair, look at this. I normally have your volume at full. So these new microphone stands are working a treat for you, sir. It's down at almost halfway, and it's still even a bit loud. So
I don't know why, but I want to hold on to it.
You can
with as much of my body as I can.
Well, please don't do that, because we don't want to break it.
I don't know why.
It feels good though, right?
Stop touching them.
It's I don't know. You just feel sort of like a professional podcaster when you hold on.
Pretty cool.
Hold on for dear life. Hey.
Anyways, ice baths.
New pastime for you. I see you got the old skateboard out.
Yeah.
And not just any skateboard.
Yeah.
The cruiser board.
Yeah. It wasn't because of me. My partner, Sarah, she couldn't sleep. So she did some online shopping at 3 a.m. and got herself
That is the best kind of shopping, sir. For usually the most important things.
Yeah. And so her idea was to ride it into work. And in my head, I was thinking, but if you fall off on the way to work, you're not going to have a great time. So I wanted to get some practice in. So we went in and bought, like, we got a longboard and a cruiser, and just started playing around with it. It's really fun. I'm really into it. I didn't realize the dinghy board that I've got, it's really maneuverable, and it's kind of similar to snowboarding.
That's the cruiser. That's the cruiser board. Yeah.
Yeah, you can like carve.
And
on
so
it
it's like it's a little longer and a little fatter than a normal skateboard, but it's you can turn it really hard in the wheel. You get some really good movement.
The wheels, instead of just leaning on them, the wheels actually turn when you lean into it, so you can get much better maneuverability,
which is pretty cool.
It's kind of fun, and there's a lot of other cool stuff you can do. So I'm sure you've seen, if you haven't seen, skateboarders going really fast downhill, and they have those gloves with the like chocks of wood on them, so that you can slide and all sorts of stuff like that.
Is it wood or plastic?
There's lots of different stuff.
Okay.
There's cheap versions, guys used to hold blocks of wood. It's crazy. Yeah. So cool. Stones as well, just like tie stones to gloves and stuff like that. Right. So like real.
You get into a street fight, you're well equipped.
Well, I mean, sure, if you have to. It's like really similar to the feeling of snowboarding, which I love snowboarding.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize it would be as fun. I was just going to do it to be supportive.
You've actually inspired me, because I have an old longboard at Mum and Dad's, and she's going to bring it into work today for me. So
cool.
we can
bring it today.
She's going to bring it back today.
Awesome.
And so mine's a longboard, not a cruiser, so it's a bit different again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been walking into. So we train split shifts here, guys. So, and I'm sure most people know that. But we come in the mornings, go home, come back in the afternoons, and then go home. And so I normally will drive in first thing in the morning and then walk home, because it's only about a 15, 20-minute walk. And then I walk back for my afternoon shift, and then I drive home at night. So I've been doing a walk. But I'm going to jump on a skateboard as well, have a bit of a cruise.
It's good fun. It's mostly uphill on the way here, but it's mostly downhill on the way home.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. There are a couple of hills that you just have to watch this YouTube tutorial. There's a couple of really high budget YouTube tutorials, and then there are some like well put together, well made, and there are some really just the broiest of dudes that are just.
But I feel like
they encompass the essence of skaters,
right?
And this one tutorial I watched, this guy was just, at first he was kind of bugging me, but then I just fell in love with him. Just the way he was talking about it. It was fantastic. Just imagine every single surfer or skater that you've ever seen, like tats all over him. He was a bit older, so he was talking about his glory days and how he used to carve, and now he's just doing tutorials on YouTube. It was great. But it's fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like whenever you're talking about skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, like the guys that are going to explain to you are like the broy guys. You're not going to see those guys telling you how to maximize your investment through the ASA. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. It's amazing. They're just surfer dudes or skater dudes, or they're all exactly the same. It's fantastic. So yeah, I feel like I listened to his advice. Fantastic tutorial saying that if you get past your speed threshold, where you're past the point of no return, you can't stop. Because I haven't learned how to slide yet, which is what you do when you go very fast to lose speed. I'm only kind of good at carving to lose some of the speed. Some of the downhills, it's just do or die. You just got to stay on the board. And yesterday on the way home, I went home at the end of my shift. It was like 7:30, 7:45. It was getting dark. Couldn't see anything. And I just started picking up too much speed. And it was almost at home on that last street before our street.
Yeah.
So just like heading down super hard towards that end road. And I couldn't turn, so I had to keep going down to the roundabout. I picked up so much speed. I couldn't stop.
The one where you had the Japanese place in the corner? You just went straight to that section?
Yeah. Oh, and I went like halfway up the other road after the roundabout before I could slow down to turn back. And his advice was, don't bail. Just commit and ride it out.
What if there's a car coming?
Don't bail, because it's worse, because you'll fall off and you'll slide and you'll scrape everything up. You probably like hit something. Just commit to it, right? It was late. I couldn't hear any cars. I just went for it, and it was terrifying and super fun. And so that surfy bro dude saved my life.
Okay,
it was great. It's lots of fun.
Now, when you first came in as well, you said, yeah, man, I got this. I was like, what's with the skateboard? You're like, oh, Sarah got a skateboard, so I got one.
I got it just to support her.
And you're like, she for sure is going to fall off.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sure she'll be fine. And then, like yesterday when I was about to train her, and she was like late, and then she comes in and she's like, I can't hold anything. I fell off my skateboard and I've really hurt myself. I'm like,
yeah, she did.
Oh,
yeah. She had the longboard, so I got the cruiser.
Yeah.
It turns a lot better. It's a lot easier to slow yourself down. The longboard picks up speed really quick.
Yeah.
And should have learned it first. The first thing you should learn how to do is stop. And we didn't do that. And we were on the way home going down one of the long stretches. And it was where the road kind of turned off before like a little lip and a curb as a crossing. And I told her, I was like, if you get too fast, just steer onto the grass because falling onto the grass isn't as bad.
Yeah.
And she kind of panicked and the board flicked out from underneath her and she rolled.
Yeah.
But all of the years of judo helped her out because she rolled. It would have been way worse if she didn't.
Right.
Like she landed on her knee and then rolled and her knee was fine.
Yeah.
And but her wrists.
Her wrists are busted
First
up.
of all, she bruises like a peach.
Yeah,
So
but they were swollen, bruised,
she
and there was some
she didn't
scrapes.
break anything, but she slapped the floor pretty hard. So
Yeah.
Her wrists were a bit blue and
as you can tell, as her coach, I was a bit disappointed when she came in. I'm like, what do you do? Like, stop it. You're an adult. What do you put the skateboard away? You're not going to the
part
Olympics.
of it, all right?
Anyway,
It's
she goes,
part of it.
She goes, but it's cool. I'm like, it's not cool. She goes, it's cool. I'm like, Sarah, it's not cool. She goes, it's fun. I'm like, it is. Yes, it is fun. I'll grant that it's fun.
It's very fun.
But then I was trying to explain to her, but it's not cool. She's like, it looks really cool. I'm like, look, the way you and I skateboard, it doesn't look cool, all right? I said, Adrian, maybe. He's graceful. He's a graceful dude, all right? He could probably pull off and look cool skateboarding. You and I, you're athletic. You can lift a lot of weights. You were really good at judo. I'm athletic. I played rugby, first grade rugby for a long time. I can lift a lot of weight. But we don't have that same grace when it comes to things like skateboarding. So you and I will never be cool skateboarding. But it is fun, so I'll let you get away with it.
I think longboarding, not so much skateboarding, like longboarding, you have a chance. Because longboarding's more about style than anything else, really. You don't get on a longboard because you want to do dope tricks and you want to, you know what I mean? Like longboarding's more about cruising. It's about the lifestyle.
I'm sure you've all seen the picture of the video of that Latin American dude just skating down Venice Beach on his longboard drinking cranberry juice I can't remember who it is, but it's like a classic song.
No,
you've not seen it?
I've not seen it.
Ooh.
You might have to link it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's just all about cruising and it's all about style. Like that, you can make that look good if you have good style.
Yeah.
So I think that you could pull that off. Same with Sarah too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tricks and the carving and all that sort of stuff. That's next level.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hurt myself a lot. Learning that, but I gotta. It's fun.
Okay.
I really enjoy that.
All right.
I loved snowboarding, and it feels
snowboarding is great. I'm actually
similar.
kind of want to check out have a go on the cruise. I've never been on a cruiser before, but I love snowboarding as well. I wasn't bad at snowboarding, so
it's like a longboard that doesn't quite go as fast with just way better maneuverability.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Try it out. Yeah, but it's part of it. It's part of it. You got to fall off a bunch of times. You got to be comfortable with it. It's like part of building up how cool you can be. It's not being scared and like bailing off the board and being like, oh no. It's just going with it. Taking the hits, which she did like a champ, by the way. She hit the ground hard and got up laughing, so I'll give her that.
She was also late.
tough.
She was late to training, so I'm disappointed. Stop being late to training. Get here early for warm-ups, okay? Anyhow. Let's skip the Olympic thing for a second. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to go balls deep into the Olympics, guys. Hey, it's the Winter Olympics. And you remember our last Olympic episode breakdown where we said how disappointed we were that skateboarding was in there, that surfing was, they're trying to get rid of wrestling and weightlifting, a bunch of Muppets, and have the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, are a bunch of corrupt Muppets as well. A bunch of wet pork chops.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
You spoke about it in length for a very long time.
Turns out there's still a bunch of pork chops, all right? So,
what do you mean, Nevin? What are they doing this time?
okay. This whole scenario doesn't make any sense.
What scenario?
Okay. So to go to the Olympics, you're meant to adhere to a pretty strict drug testing standard. Okay?
No,
okay?
really?
Now,
People take drugs in the Olympics?
in saying this, there is no, they say, we're the gold standard of drug testing. Well, they're pretty bad at it because a lot of people dope and get away with it. But when you catch someone with a banned substance in the system, what should that person have done to them?
Well, you get, there's like, what are the actions? I don't know if you get banned right away. Do you get like second chances and all that?
No. It is. If you get caught with a banned substance, especially under WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Agency, it's like a straight 2 to 4 year ban depending on the substance and like the situation. Okay? You're banned.
So there's no like 1 strike, 2 strikes.
No.
You're just out of there.
If you get caught with a banned substance, you're out of there. And it does come down to the individual sport and what level of under the doping agency there is.
That's fair.
Yeah. So this is not like AFL. Don't even get me started on old AFL here, where it was like the 3 strike rule. I don't know if they've changed that. Hopefully they have. But basically, you could fail a drug test, and then they would basically just tell the player, all right, hey, you failed that one. And then like you'd fail 2 drug tests. They will tell the team and the trainer, and they wouldn't actually tell the media until the 3rd foul, 3 strikes, and then they get a small slap on the wrist. Which is why we had so many damn crack addicts like Ben Cousins running around playing footy, because they're all just pinging off drugs the whole time and not getting kicked out. It was ridiculous. So I don't know if AFL still does that, but you're useless with your drug testing. Sort it out.
But I mean, also, like, it's AFL. Like, who really cares?
Yeah. No one outside of Australia, right? You're useless. Get out of here. All right. But anyhow, so let's go back to basically when you get caught with a banned substance, you're meant to be banned. You're meant to be tossed out of the sport. Your name gets put up on a doping list. It's in the name of the
substance. It's called a banned substance.
Yeah. You can refute. You can say, "Hey, no, this was not right. This was an incident," and basically you can go and say, "This is everything that I'm taking," and they can go and do some tests. Like, you know what? That was actually a tainted batch. Technically, even if it's a tainted protein powder or something like that, and you did not take it knowingly and it was an accident, you're still meant to cop a ban. It's usually a reduced sentence.
There's an enormous list of banned substances that aren't steroids. There's just a lot of, it's a very underregulated industry, the supplement industry, I guess you could call it. And there are a lot of the things that aren't actually written on the containers or bottles that are in them. It's big in America as well.
Yeah.
Australia has more strict.
Well, even in Australia, so many of the stuff you get over the counter in your local supplement shop will actually be tainted with banned substances, with steroids, with extra amphetamines. And the reason why is because they make them in these giant vats over in China or wherever they make them all in bulk, and they just don't clean out the vats very well. And so, like, you might do a whole batch of something that's got a banned substance, and then you go and do a protein powder next, and you're going to get residue from it. So you get contamination easily.
There's a list of batch tested stuff, basically, that you can get that's recommended by certain associations.
There's a third-party tested product.
And then you can use these products knowing full well that if you're taking these products, there's no banned substances in them. And it's for that exact reason.
And so let's say you take one of those products, and it is even contaminated. You can be like, this is what I'm taking. They go away, they test it, they look at the batch number, they go and test independently another sample from that batch, and like, this was contaminated. Look, it was still in your system. You're still going to get a reduced sentence, basically. Okay?
Yeah. So they're supposed to be really strict. Right. And not even that, like general supplements, like some pre-workouts, for example. I think someone that I know went for the police force a couple of years ago, and they tested for opioids, and it was just something in the pre-workout that they were taking, which was banned in America, and it was banned in Australia, and it was banned after like 3 months of being released. And so the police were like, "Hey, you can't come in because."
Probably amphetamine, not
No, there was like an opioids one. There was a different one. Another friend that I know, same thing. Like, you ping for all sorts of different stuff. Like, if you want a fun time, go get a drug test, but then take a bunch of pre-workouts first and see if what you're taking has banned substances in it. It's very underregulated, and that's why it's so strict here in Australia. Not as strict in America, though.
Right. So here's now I've gone a little off topic. We just give you a little bit of insight into doping, what's meant to happen when you get caught. There is a fifth, and here we go again, right? Russia was meant to be kicked out of the Winter and Summer Olympics because they had state-sponsored doping. On a country-wide scale, their athletes were getting pumped full of gear, okay? And they were cheating and trying to cover it up. This was all revealed after Sochi Olympics, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The IOC chickened out. Instead of banning them, let them compete as the Russian Olympic Committee, the ROC, not Russia. But it's basically a bunch of Russian athletes competing for Russia.
So what does that mean, competing as the ROC? They can still get gold medals and represent Russia?
They get medals as the ROC, which is basically, it's the Russian Olympic Committee. It's not the country of Russia. It's ridiculous. It was some loophole. IOC let them do it. It's a joke. Anyhow, so now they're allowed to compete, even though they shouldn't be. Their 15-year-old superstar figure skater, right? Tests hot for a banned substance.
15-year-old?
15 years old, right?
Don't you have to be older than 15 to compete in the Olympics?
I think it's done sort of sport by sport. Okay. But either way, she's 15. She's at the Olympics. She tests hot for a banned substance.
Ice skating.
Okay.
What sort of steroids do you take for ice skating?
You can take, but it doesn't have to be steroids. It could be beta blockers, steroids. It could be diuretic. It could be anything. If it's on the banned list, it's not allowed.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. It's black and white. If it's on the banned list, you can't have it in your system.
Yep.
She tests hot, right? Melts the cup. Okay, I don't know how much, but she tests hot.
Then what happens, Nevin? What happens next?
What should happen is that she says, the IOC says, you know what, you're actually not allowed to compete. Sorry, and then we're going to actually give you a ban. And if you think it's an issue, you can object to it, and we'll do further testing.
Management.
Correct. Yeah. Instead, they said, "Oh, she's only 15. I mean, she probably didn't know what she was taking if she's only 15." Maybe it's the people around her that were giving it to her. And you know what?
So?
Do you know what her excuse was?
What?
What her parents' excuse for her was?
What?
Was that, that product is in a medication that her granddad takes, and that she probably picked it up from him by accident by sharing the same glass of water or by washing the dishes in the same sink. And the IOC goes, that explains it. You know what? 15-year-old, you can compete. What a freaking joke. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel bad for her because here's the deal. She's 15.
Well,
she's not going out to her gym and sourcing out all the steroids or bands or amphetamines. She's 15 years old.
It's not even about her. Unfortunately, 15-year-old girl competing in the Olympics getting duped for, let's say her trainers were giving it to her. Sorry, this is a good learning experience for you. Your trainer's fired and you're still banned. You don't get a special
exactly
treatment just because you're 15. You get the same treatment as everyone else.
And here's the deal: they've not actually put forward any evidence that that she was contaminated from her grandpa by accident. All right, so the IOC still lets you compete, and you know what they say? We're going to let you compete. Now she's one of the favorites to win the events. Mm-hmm. All right, she's like a superstar figure skater.
Yeah,
is that if you win a medal, even though you've tested hard, and we're going to let you compete anyway, if you win a medal, we're just not going to have a medal ceremony. And you'll get your medal, but it won't be, televised. It'll be a private thing. No flower ceremony. Can you imagine if you had been working hard your whole life to go to the Olympics?
Yeah.
You get a podium spot and you don't get your medal ceremony because the IOC has allowed an athlete that's been caught with a banned substance to compete with you, while her country shouldn't even be allowed to compete. Yeah. Russia, sort your out. Look, IOC, sort your out.
You know what's happening?
It's actually a joke.
It's atrocious. It should not be happening.
It's a joke.
It's hurting more people than it's helping. It's just ridiculous. But you know what's happening? I know what's happening.
Before you say you know what's happening, I want to reiterate. I don't think this 15-year-old girl knowingly went out and took something that was on the banned list. I don't.
No.
If it was an accident, it was contamination, or it was given to her by her trainers, by her parents, someone in her circle. All right. I feel terrible for her because she ended up falling on her thing and she didn't get it. She came fourth. Right. So the other people were allowed to enjoy their medals, you know, but the whole idea is absolutely outrageous.
It is.
And the IOC should be embarrassed and Russia should be embarrassed.
I mean, what's the point of having the rules in the first place if you're not going to follow them?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what it is though?
What?
It's Putin. It's 100%. It's the Russians. It's the Russians asserting their dominance.
Well, they're saying,
probably from in the shadows.
If we let her compete, maybe they won't invade Ukraine. Like what?
No, you got to think about stuff like that. There's someone in the IOC that set those rules, and then there should be someone in the IOC that goes, "She pinged?
Yeah,
all right, she's banned."
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
You know what didn't happen? That. So you know why that didn't happen?
Yeah.
That person stood up and went, "She's banned," and then someone from Russia went, "Your family's going to die if she's banned." And then they were like, oh, maybe it was a grandpa or something from the sink, or I don't know. And that's got to be how it happened.
Who knows?
There's got to be.
Either way, the whole thing is disappointing.
There's pressure from someone somewhere. It is.
What it does is it diminishes
any authority that they have.
It diminishes any credibility they have.
Yeah.
And it diminishes all the hard work that the athletes are putting in.
It's supposed to be a gold standard. So when you say something is an Olympic level, that's supposed to be the highest standard of human performance. That's the peak, the pinnacle. That's as hard as anyone can push and the best that anyone can achieve, right? That's supposed to be the top, and it should be treated as such, as the highest quality event. And the highest quality event, those rules are there for a reason. And if you set rules and don't follow them, what's the point? It means that that's not the pinnacle. That's not, if we're letting people do that, letting people dope, letting people compete on an uneven playing field, then that just isn't what you're going for. You're creating something that isn't a high quality event. But to reiterate what I said in a previous podcast, just let the people dope. Let them choose.
Let them choose.
Natural versus unnatural.
My body, my choice.
Test every single athlete in the tested division and don't test one athlete in the untested division. I would tune in to watch both. I would watch the untested and the tested Olympics. I want to see the comparison.
I would just watch the untested Olympics. You know why?
A lot of people
because it's going to be
way
so much
cooler.
better than the normal Olympics.
But you have a good comparison there.
Right.
And they should do the ceremonies at the same time, and everyone should be presented their medals at the same time, and everyone should be recognized at the same time, but they should be recognized as tested and untested. This is the pinnacle of human performance at its best, natural. And then this is what you can do with science.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be. It shouldn't
Science
be
wins.
like someone working for 30 years of their life with everything they've got, every inch blood, sweat, tears, the whole lot, and then just getting outdone by someone who's taking steroids,
Yeah.
right? Like training exactly as hard, but I just can't train as hard as someone who's taking steroids.
Right.
That's how it works. It's
And again,
silly.
and this girl, I don't think it was steroids that was caught in her system, but it was a banned substance nonetheless.
There has to be a strict.
If it's on the banned list, it's banned. You just can't have it in your
because there's
system.
always going to be those people that try to
100%.
work the system. So the
People
testing
out there,
criteria has to be
and
strict.
people out there are like, well, what if it's not a steroid and they're not getting like? But here's the thing, guys. They also ban stuff that masks steroids. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the performance enhancers. It's all the things that have to do. Like it's a comprehensive list.
I
And
do
it's given
have
to all the athletes.
I do have one issue with one time that an athlete got banned.
Ooh.
I feel like was unfair. It was unjust, and it was a little over the top.
What happened?
I think it was an Australian athlete, a swimmer, if I do remember correctly. Someone got pinged for smoking marijuana.
What?
And they said that it was a performance-enhancing drug, and he was no longer allowed to compete. I feel like this is false.
Well, here's the deal. It's on the banned list, right?
It is on the banned list.
So what did you say before?
They got banned, right?
They did get banned.
But it was on the banned list because it's because it is a performance-enhancing
So let
drug.
me ask you a question, right? Just like everything,
Yeah.
different substances affect people differently.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. So some people, when they get a little high, might just have to lie down. Some people might be able to go and do a 100-meter sprint, right? But they're relaxed, they're calm. So if you suffer from anxiety, right, but you can still physically perform when you take just a small amount of weed. I don't even talk about getting high, just like a small amount of weed. One little puff here.
Okay.
But it calms your nerves, and now you're not freaking out before competition. That's performance enhancing, sir. And either way, it's on the banned list. Whether they're saying it's a recreational drug or a performance enhancer,
it should be banned as a recreational drug that is on the banned list. Okay. They specifically ban them for taking performance enhancing drugs.
right?
That is
But if it calms you down and you can physically
there
perform,
are classes of drugs. It is a depressant. It is not a stimulant. It is not something that directly enhances performance.
So it does though. So this is the same with beta blockers,
Yeah.
right? So and this is, have you ever watched Bigger, Stronger, Faster? It's a documentary on how basically performance enhancers are everywhere, even in symphony orchestra, right? Now, when you think performance
Now
enhancers,
I'm interested. And I want
when
to
you
know
think
about
performance
symphony
enhancers,
orchestra.
you don't think the violins, the flutes,
Yeah.
all right, the flautists.
Yeah.
But basically, this guy was like, I am a great musician, but I get so nervous before I play, so I take beta blockers, and when I go out there, I could be performing naked in front of 10 million people, and I wouldn't care. So basically, a beta blocker, no, it doesn't. It's not anabolic. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't help your lung capacity, but it calms him down, and he can perform better. So you don't have to be physically enhanced to be a performance enhancer, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay. I understand where you're coming from. I'm thinking about it more strictly in the realms of classification of substances and how
Right.
they affect you physiologically.
But you can get performance enhancers that aren't anabolic. Like you can get a steroid is anabolic. It builds muscle and therefore it enhances your physical performance. But things that caffeine, for example, can also enhance your physical performance. But it used to be a banned, but now it's not.
It used to be banned, yeah.
Right? But it's not anabolic. It's a stimulant. So there are lots of different things. They can be in different categories and still be performance enhancing, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. I'll concede on this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Victory.
Okay. I still don't think that it's a performance enhancing drug though.
Right. Well, it's not anabolic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand how it can enhance performance.
It can enhance performance. So by definition.
I guess. I guess.
Uh-huh.
All right. Moving on.
Now, talking about competition,
yeah.
upcoming comps around the gym. We got a few.
We got a couple coming up.
In like a week or so, we have novice strongman comp, which we had,
Dominated
4 people.
by the ladies, I believe.
Yeah, being represented by the ladies here at the Strength Institute. We'll see how Sarah goes with her wrists because she can't hold on to anything heavy at the moment. So she might be out.
She may be out.
Jess gone and busted her knee up jumping off a paddleboard. A wave took her out, and then the board slammed into her front of her knee, and she heard a pop. And so she has now gotten some scans. She's getting the results today.
No.
She might have blown out her PCL.
Is that the world's first paddleboarding injury?
It's the world's first PCL from paddleboard. Who knows? So
Wow.
If her knees, regardless of whether
sucks.
her knee's blown out, she's not going to make the novice comp.
Yeah.
We're really hoping that it's just a strain, and then she'll still be good for state powerlifting come May or April, end of April. But we got Claire's ready to jump in. She's really excited. And then we've got was it just the 3? Was it Claire, Jess, and Sarah.
I think so. Fiona
decided not to do that one.
I think just 3.
And then we got state powerlifting coming up in April, which we have, I think, about 5 people jumping in, 4 or 5 people, which is exciting.
Got Byron and Michelle and that. Who else have we got competing?
Byron, Michelle, Dad's going to jump in bench only.
Is he going for that record this time around?
I don't think he'll go for the record because he's coming back from a bit of a shoulder niggle. So, but he's in the new weight class, so I think he's just setting records, like setting standards, because I don't think they have him there. And I swear there was one more. Maybe not. Maybe it's just the 3. Who do we say?
Byron, Michelle, and you tell.
No, Fiona as well.
Oh, yeah,
4.
Fiona.
Yeah, so we got 4.
Can't forget Fiona.
Then we got Megan's going across, and I'm going across
did you say
as well.
and Jess too?
Well, and Jess if her knee is good.
Yeah.
And Jess if her knee is good. So it is 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Jess if her knee is good. Then also in April, Megan and I are heading over to Brisbane for the Australia Strongest man and woman competition. So there's 2 federations, guys. Now, Megan, if you've already watched the video,
Already Australia's strongest
woman for the ASA, the Australian Strongman Alliance, for the under 82 kilo weight class. She's also your triple crowned under 82 state champ and open state champ this year. And she's going to be now.
Right.
She's the three-time WA strongest woman under 82 champion.
It's much better.
Yeah. And so she's going to be going across to Brisbane. We're going to be going across to Brisbane. We're going to help coach finally because the borders are opening up, which is great. So I can head across with her and not having to worry about quarantining. I'll just mask up, triple vaxxed, make sure I don't pop hot on the way home.
Ready to go.
Ready to roll. And that will then, if she, she's going to compete that comp with the goal of becoming the undisputed under 82 Australia's strongest woman.
Awesome.
All right, across both federations, which is fantastic. Now, regardless of how she goes in this comp, she's also already qualified for for the world's strongest woman, which is the OSG, so the official Strongman Games, which has finally been set for November this year in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Yeah, sweet.
Very exciting.
That is very exciting.
So we're going to be heading across to the US and try to get her up there and doing the best she can against the best in the world.
I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be saying this. Maybe secret information.
Ooh.
But there may be a few people getting a campaign ready for Megan. Is this officially live?
It's not officially live yet, guys.
Okay.
But when it is, we'll let you know. There is actually going to be a bit
Watch
of a...
this space. There's a funding...
There's going to be a bit of a...
let's say campaign going together.
There's going to be a campaign together to try to help... send Megan across to the US.
It's not very big here. The sport isn't as big in Australia as it is in America. With a lot of other sports, there's a lot of money in America because there's a lot of people, and the industry for sport is enormous. Where in Australia, a lot of Australian athletes have to pay their own way, even to the Olympics at that level. So
and even the companies here, so for example, you got some good athletes over in the US, and they can get, I'm sponsored by this supplement company. What that means here is you'll get some free supplements, and we'll give you a code. And if people buy enough of the protein with your code, we'll throw you some dollars back. There's not really hardly any money in it.
She's a teacher. She still works.
Yeah.
So she is paying her way basically. So what we're going to do with the funding campaign is try and just get her flights and accommodation, just try and get her there and back without her having to be too out of pocket. Yeah. So she can just focus on her training.
So that is going to get released soon, I think. Yeah. And Ash, Remedial Mass, is actually organising that, which is fantastic. And really appreciate that. But we'll give all the information when that's live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as well as just Megan, we want to try and get Megan's coach over there as well.
Well, I'm going regardless, guys. I'm going regardless. But let's we'll worry about that.
There's going to be some campaigns coming up to help Megan get over there. So watch this space, and we'll probably do another segment on this in another podcast.
Look, I think to make the deal a little sweeter, Adrian and I might do like a bikini car wash sort of thing.
Oh, I'm down for that. Yeah. Bikini car wash.
And then in between cars, like in the ice bath.
Definitely not. I'm out. Sorry, Megan. You're on your own. Yeah. No, bikini car wash. That's a good one. I would do that for sure. Yeah.
I reckon I look good in a bikini.
I disagree, but I still think it would raise a lot of money.
I got a strong peach. So we'll see how it goes.
We may do a few events for that. I believe we've also talked about Train the Trainer Day. So we'll auction off sessions where people can buy sessions and they can train Nevin or myself. I think that's actually been pretty popular. People are willing to pay for those.
I know who's going to pay for that. It's Bavik wants to buy it and just make me do burpees the entire time.
Hey, man. Get your athlete to a competition.
You know what? My one's good. If you want to train me, it's gonna cost you.
No, we're going to auction them.
Yeah,
we're going to auction them off.
Yeah,
so people have
but mine has like a minimum spend.
Yeah.
So like your one is just like $20 to train you. right? It's like you got to drop a K if you want to train me.
You know what you got to do?
What?
You're just going to have to drop in some dummy votes. It's like, Bavic's going to be like $100, and then someone else in the back's going to be like $250. And it's just going to be you trying to beat the price. No, everyone pays the same amount. Thank you very much.
If you say
All
so.
right? We're trying to raise money.
Uh-huh.
So there's a few things coming up that are going to be good fun to try and get Megan over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Training. How's your training going in general, by the way?
Pretty good for once.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm all but out of the woods with this god-awful shoulder injury I've been dealing with since June last year. I finally hit the 100 kilo mark. Last time that I hurt my shoulder, I was pressing 100 kilos overhead in a bit of a complex. The next morning, I could not brush my teeth. I couldn't lift my arm up, and I was in a pretty bad way for a little while. And both my shoulders
Now, would you
went
say
into meltdown.
it was better or worse than when you get into an ice bath?
Worse.
Oh, really?
Much worse, yeah. I couldn't sleep for like 2 weeks.
Amazing.
I kept waking up in the middle of the night feeling like someone was stabbing me. That was pretty bad. That was the right shoulder. Then the left shoulder had all these compensation patterns and all sorts of... They both just went to trash. And then I spent the last, since June, like 8 months, sorting it all out. And now I'm finally good again. Last week, my heavy week, I hit 100 kilos for all my overhead lifts. I got a 100 kilo squat for 1 rep. I got a clean and press for 3 reps at 100 and log press for 2.5.
Yeah,
2.5 reps.
Count the half
I didn't
rep.
get the overhead press. I got 2 overhead presses with 100 and
Clean the log
clean.
method, yeah.
But all my lifts overhead at 100 now, no shoulder injuries, so going pretty good.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
finally getting like all of my exercises now. Up until recently, I still couldn't even dumbbell shoulder press. Just the extra compression was sore. And this month I went 10 kilos up on that as well.
Nice.
Everything's feeling good. So yeah, still a little sore, a little tight, and just have to like really
So
spend my
what
time.
are you
warming up,
working towards at the moment? Like, what's the goal for you?
It's all about static monsters. So last year in October-November, we went to the Static Monsters comp, and Nevin and myself and Gavin, one of our other members, got excited about how fun it was. And so we all decided that we were going to compete. And because we're all very competitive, I stopped all of my other training and just started training for this competition. And I still am now. And so I've been doing log clean and press once a week, and I've been doing the wagon wheel deadlifts once a week, and all my other training has been to develop my overhead strength. And it's just that. It's just training for static monsters. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm trying to go up in weight. I'm from, if anyone remembers, when I was 75 kilos, I'm up to 87 at the moment. I'm trying to go up to 90 for it. So putting on weight on my lifts as well, just getting ready for static monsters.
Nice.
And I'm feeling really good about it. The deadlift doesn't matter. Who cares? Deadlifts are for losers. But I'm definitely going to overhead press more than Nevin.
You
and that's
will not.
all that matters.
Hey, here's the deal,
the
guys.
only thing that
I'm
matters.
not going to train at all, and I'm still going to win. Okay.
Wish.
Yeah.
Look at those long spaghetti arms.
Yeah,
you've
man.
got
These
going on
noodle arms.
Yeah.
Old noodle arm McGee over here is crushing. So that's great. That's really good that you're doing that.
there. How's your training going? How's your old man back? How's it been?
Old man back is old man. No, it's so. And here's the deal with me. I was loving training. We worked up to the squat challenge Christmas a year ago, so 14 months ago.
That was pretty fun.
It was great. I was feeling really strong, and then we refocused to the States training, and that's when I put the road to 300 deadlift videos up as well. And I still need to do an update on that, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I'm finally back to where I was before I hurt myself.
Is that I hurt my back the week before the powerlifting comp, and then
That was very upsetting.
and then things were going really good. I came back a little fast and retweaked it about 6 weeks later. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was like just completely turned off training. So I didn't train for ages, and I put on a heap of weight. I went from 91 kilos, which is where I was the week before the state powerlifting, because I was going to compete in the 90 kilo weight class. I went from 91 all the way up to 117.1 kilos.
yeah.
So a lot.
You were looking pretty thick for a bit there.
About 26 kilos. Okay, so and I wasn't really training, and I was just busy with work and other stuff. So anyhow, I've turned my mental mindset around. When this year ticked over, I'm like, all right, get your ass back into gear, start to lose some weight. So I'm already down 9 kilos. I'm down to 108 from 117. First goal is just to get to 100. 100 is a good spot for me, because if I wanted to jump into a fun strongman thing, I could go to 105. If I really wanted to go into the 90s, I can as well. I'm also getting married later this year, so I want to look good. All right? So I'm losing that weight. So I'm down 9 kilos, 8 more to go until my first goal is met. I started training again, and things were feeling really good. I did have one little back tweak doing, I guess I was trying to strengthen my back, and I was doing RDLs, and it just was not feeling right, and it just sort of went on the last rep. Stupid. So now I've got back into my training. I've completely changed my approach. I've gotten rid of all the big complex movements, all the big ones. So I'm not squatting. I'm not deadlifting.
All of them?
Well, yoke's not a complex
all
movement.
of them?
Hang on. I'm going to get to that in a second.
We'll explain that in a second.
Yeah. I'm not squatting. I'm not deadlifting. I'm going to start squatting again soon. But for the first 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I am focusing on unilateral movements to make sure everything is working as it should. And it hasn't been, because I've been doing Bulgarian split squats, and the weights are going up, and every time I do them, my ass literally feels like it's about to explode. My little glutes, all right, now it's just strange because I got a nice peach on me, don't get me wrong, but my glutes are not hot, like the size there is not equating well to strength. So I think there's definitely some imbalances going on with my stabilizers. So I am keeping that. I've added in not pistol squats because I can't hold my leg out in front and do the full range of motion pistol squat, but single leg squats off of a elevated box. So similar. Glute ham raise work. So trying to really strengthen up my hamstrings, glutes, lower back. Once that is all to a good standard and feeling really strong, no pain, everything feels even, my ass isn't on fire after 3 sets of Bulgarians, I'm going to add my squats back in. Okay? Another thing that I've been adding in is a bit more core conditioning. Now, I always said if you're squatting heavy, deadlifting heavy, your core is working hard as well, right? Maybe sometimes, though, instead of actually bracing with the core, I'm just leaning into the position, if that makes sense. I'm not actually engaging the core, even though it is strong. You can't squat 270 kilos and have a weak core. It's impossible, right? So,
but it could definitely be stronger.
It could be stronger, and I might not be engaging it properly. So I'm chucking a lot of dead bugs in, and that's been helping me just like really engage before I start to do any exercises. The other thing that I've added in is weighted carries. So farmer carries and yoke walk. And I think that's been a game changer because everything feels so good when they all have to work and move. Because when you squat, guys, you're in one spot, right? So there's some stabilizing required, but nowhere near as much as when you're walking, when you're moving. So I've gotten back into the yoke, and that's actually my first goal this year, is to get a 400 kilo yoke for 15 meters in under 15 seconds. Now, when I set the Australian record for yoke way back in the day in 2011 for the 105 kilo weight class in strongman, it was only 325 kilos, but for 25 meters, and I did it in about 12 seconds. So I was like running with that thing. The heaviest yoke I got to at that time was I was training with Dan Macri at Dan Macri's house, was a 405 kilo yoke, because his yoke was 205 empty. So we let it to 405, and it was only for 5 or 10 meters. It definitely wasn't the full 15. So my first goal is to go 400 for 15 in less than 15 seconds. And that's been feeling great. Actually, in 4 sessions, I went all the way up to 375 kilos for 5 meters. It felt good too. It felt real good. So, I actually bought some shoes. Hang on one sec.
So earlier when Nevin was saying that he hurt his back doing RDLs and it just went.
Yeah.
This is so. First, we should bring it back.
Actually, Adrian and I had. First of all, look at those high top Vans.
We should bring it back a little
Extra ankle support, flat soled, and red is the fastest color.
Red is definitely the fastest color.
I wear these in the bedroom. And
I think the reason why you wait in the bedroom, you don't want to be going fast in the bedroom. The reason why you hurt yourself in the first place, and this happens a lot, and it gets overlooked easily because you feel strong, is you're doing lots of barbell, like complex barbell moves, just in general. Not doing any like lunge unilateral work, any like working out any imbalances or anything like that. And when you're feeling good and you're feeling strong, it's very easy to throw a bar on your back, feel good, lift heavy. But then those little imbalances, they get masked amongst all of that. And then a tiny little imbalance when you're pushing heavy weights, like trying to deadlift 300 kilos, trying to squat really heavy. It starts to, when you push up closer to your max weight or even sub-maximally, it makes a very big difference biomechanically, just the way that you load your body. And so I think that the issue that you had was that you were just squatting and deadlifting so heavy so often. There were these tiny little imbalances that just got too far out of control for your body to handle, and something just went.
I think I would agree that that's what happened when the original tweak went. And then when it retweaked it 6 weeks later, I just went back in too quickly. It was still stiff. It was pain free, but it was stiff, and I shouldn't have been trying to up the weights again so quickly while it wasn't feeling 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, then I had this long hiatus, got super fat, and
And then I said, hey Nevin, just maybe like take it easy and ease into it. And then 5 weeks later, he was walking with the yoke with the 375 kilos on it.
It felt good.
And then it was like the next week, 3 or 4 days later, that he heard he's back on RDLs. And I was thinking, well, maybe
it wasn't the yoke.
After not training for 8 years,
it wasn't the yoke.
And then doing a sprint with 5 million kilos on your back.
No, it wasn't the yoke. And I'll explain why here, guys.
We've debated this. We've argued about this.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. You've never done a yoke.
I've not done a yoke.
And so you don't understand the forces with the yoke. And what my point was to you...
I do understand the forces.
No. Not until you do it properly.
Well, you've got a joint issue with your back, and then you put lots of weight on your back, and then you injured your back.
Yeah, but it was not a compression issue with my back. My back has never been a compression issue. And I understand what you're saying. There's movement. The joints are working and holding on.
Injury. They help. There's movement in those.
All 3 times that I've twinged my back with the facet joint, and this is why I'm very aware of the differences. Because when I hurt my back playing rugby, it was a disc compression issue, and it was a nervy pain. It was when I slouched or would round my back would be very painful, and it was whenever it was compressed it would be painful. Right? This is not that. I've also had strains where you just twist a little funny and then your erector spinae get really tight to protect you. This is different again. The facet joint issue, what I've been dealing with over the last year, is when I'm at a deep hinging motion. So when the weight is sitting really far from the pivot point of the lower back. So it happened at the bottom of a squat, it happened at the bottom of a deadlift, and it's happened at the RDL when the bar is low and I'm hinged back. So it's this compromised position. Being at the full hinge is when the facet joint goes. When I'm vertical, there is zero facet joint issue whatsoever. And so when I pick the yoke up, and you have to remember, yoke is my favorite and best event when I was competing as well. I'm very stable with a yoke, and I'm not twisting side to side when I'm walking. I'm not rounding or buckling. It's just fixed, rigid, and my feet move. So the yoke's been feeling great, and I actually was surprised at how quickly my squats were increasing, and I think a big part of that was because I was doing yoke, and that was helping everything build and get stabilized.
That overload, that stimulus is huge, yeah.
I also was bumping up the RDLs quite quickly. So my thing now is the unilateral leg work. I'm keeping the yoke in. I am going to slow the progression down that a little bit, but to say that, I was already at 375. Once I get to 400, like that's,
But that was
almost there.
That was my whole point. It was not what you were doing; it was the rate at which you were doing it.
Yeah.
So
the squats,
you could have very, very comfortably increased by like 50 kilos a week from 100 and just taken your time. But I think the reason why you
100 is too low.
Well, it's too low if you're fresh and there's nothing wrong with you. But if you have a particular joint issue in your back,
this is the same thing that we're getting into with the ice bath. If me doing 100 kilos on a yoke would literally be like sitting in a warm bathtub trying to claim it's an ice bath. It's not going to do anything. I need to have at least two. Like this is why, because you've not done the yoke. You don't understand.
But that comparison doesn't make sense. If you think that you're not using that joint or you're not loading that joint in a particular way with the yoke on your back, you are sorely mistaken.
I feel like it's not compromised in that position.
It's not necessarily compromised in that position, but if you have a joint injury, in particular, you're not at 100% of your effective strength, and you lose a little bit of that strength, energy, move, anything, and then you go do something else, you're more likely to hurt yourself doing something else. It's just not being 100% recovered and then doing something that's too much for your body to handle.
I can see your point.
That's personally what I think.
Yeah.
I think it was nothing wrong with what you were doing. It was just the rate of progression after an injury.
I can see your point. But I will not concede. I will continue my yoke, and I will slow down the progression a little bit. I'm going to go back to 15 minutes. So I'm only going to do what I can handle for 15s, not for 5s. I'm not going to do any heavy 5s. So just 15s for now. So it will be a little lighter. But I'm really excited with the unilateral leg work because that's actually been helping. I've been noticing that a lot over the last few weeks. So that's what I'm going to keep sticking with.
I'm excited. I hope you do get that yoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I will get the yoke. I mean, that's not going to be an issue. It's
going to be great.
And then I'll do a 500 kilo yoke.
It's good to see you training again.
I'll do a 500
Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed Fat Nev, but Fit Nev is better.
He's a jolly guy.
Fit Nev is much
jolly guy.
Fat Nev.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about everything we wanted to cover.
Yeah, that was quite a bit, actually. Nice. Quite a little bit of stuff there. I think that's a little bit of everything. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So stay tuned for another ice bath, 2 dudes, 1 tub coming up this weekend.
2 dudes, 1 tub is coming at you this Sunday. I'll probably try to edit it up same day, get it up on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty fun. We're gonna get nice and cold.
Fun is not the right word.
Talk about sexual abstinence before competition.
talking about abstinence.
Yeah.
Have you ever abstained before competition?
No, because I'm not weird.
You haven't been interested to see if you have the strength of your ancestors egging you on?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, neither.
What do you want me to do? Just wait 2 weeks?
I know,
I'll mess my bed.
6 weeks.
No way.
Who did that? Who are you talking about?
What?
6 weeks? You said
Muhammad Ali used to not engage in anything like that for 6 weeks before a fight.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Anyhow, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. More importantly, subscribe. We're up to 490 subscribers, guys. 490.
Should we do a 500
We
video?
100% need to do a 500 video.
All right.
500 kilo yoke. Let's do it. So what can we do that's got 500 that's related to 500 of something? 500 kilos or something. 500 calories is too little calories. 500 grams of protein, because that would be like 2,000 calories. You could do like 500 grams of protein each, like a speed eating competition.
But isn't it supposed to be a squat related thing?
Well, it doesn't have to be
squat
squat
100.
No. I think the 1,000 is going to be 1,100 kilo
All right.
squats.
What 500 things should we do?
Yeah.
Leave some comments. Let us know.
500.
Also,
types of donuts.
10 more people need to subscribe first. So do that and then tell us what you
That's
think.
right. That's right.
That we should do. Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will see you again soon, and we'll be in an ice tub when we do. So enjoy, and
soon.
catch you later. Bye.